I know the battles that I've had to face because I put forward a Nigerian-made product. Once the year's made in Nigeria, they don't want to have anything to do with it. They've not even heard the production. They don't even want to give it a chance. So I remember when I got married, for the first 2 years, I didn't have a bed. I wore a shoe for 3 years. I wore one jean for 1 year.
The very beginning might not be the best time to take a loan. There's something we call proof of concept.
Yes.
You want to use your own resources.
Yes, to prove it.
To prove your concept, to build a prototype. So when you take those baby steps and you can see the potential, because the thing about journeys like this in entrepreneurship is that the picture becomes clearer as you move along.
So a lot of people will say life is hard. I can't get by because I don't have rich parents. But they have excesses that they are accommodating that people are seeing but they cannot tell them. I work with MI, I work with Gaze, and some of the MI's events, Netosi was there, Blaze, Ice Springs, quite a lot of
he
gospel
used
artists.
Your speakers.
Yes,
wow.
I have pictures. I remember telling MI after sound check that these speakers are made in Nigeria, and I remember what he said. I still remember it till tomorrow. And he said,
all right, so welcome everyone. You're welcome once again to Connecting Deep podcast. I am your host, Myles, and I'm very excited to come to you once again with premium information. Now, today's guest is someone who has, built something, is building, I wouldn't just call it a product, I think it's a movement. And especially when you're coming from or you live in an environment where not too many people build stuff. We have people that have become multi-billionaires, from things like importation. When we actually find people that build stuff, I think it's important to listen to them, to listen to their journey, and find the things that we can learn and apply to our own journey. So today's guest is someone who is a visionary at the intersection of art, sound, and innovation. He started his journey as a filmmaker. I think he's also been a music producer, but he has evolved into one of Nigeria's most promising creative entrepreneurs. Today, he's not just a skilled sound engineer, but he is also the founder of a groundbreaking line of professional audio equipment that is proudly designed and manufactured in Nigeria. His products are already making waves, at high-profile events, for a lot of Nigerian artists and organizations, events and stuff. His ambition is to establish a world-class Nigerian brand, that sets the standard for premium professional audio equipment. Now, with a rare blend of artistic instinct and technical ingenuity, he's quietly shaping the future of sound in Africa and beyond. Let's welcome Mr. Muyiwa Onikpede. Muyiwa, you're welcome.
Thank you, Myles. So good to have me on the podcast, and I believe that as we journey, that would unveil a lot of things that
fantastic.
Learn from.
I'm excited to have you here. He doesn't live in Lagos, so he came all the way from his base, and we're very grateful to have you.
Thank you so much.
So let's get right into it. I introduced you, but that's from a very how do I call it, from a technical perspective. Who is Muyiwa? Tell us, who is Muyiwa?
Okay. Muyiwa is a father.
Okay.
He's a husband.
Yes.
Of course, he's a brother. And,
okay.
Would I say I'm also a minister?
Okay.
And I found a way to put excellence.
Okay.
In everything that I do, in managing my relationship with my spouse, my siblings, my clients, and also into the things that I do. So let me just say that I just find a way to put excellence into everything that I connect with, or anything that connects with me.
Okay.
So I think that explains myself in a very simple, short time.
All right, so let's talk about your journey. And before we get into DMEG, that's the name of the company, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Before we get into DMEG and what you are doing with DMEG, I want us to, go back a bit. And I know that you've been into filmmaking and music production. How did you get into that?
Okay. First, I've always loved music, even at my very young age. So I'm always attracted to the radio in those days. There was no CDs in those days. There was no phones in those days. But we had radio. So I've always been attracted to music. So when I grew up and I had an option of doing something for myself, the easiest thing I could lay my hands on was music production. Why? Because I was also a rapper. Yes, I'd rapped.
Interesting.
And I recorded an album I remember very well. So I used to go to the studio and I see how things is being done even while I was being recorded. So there was an inbuilt passion that had been from childhood, that's for music,
Okay.
and now having to see how the studio works. So when I was able to do something for myself, the first option that came to me was having my personal home recording studio, which was
Wow.
where the journey of music production began.
Wow, that's amazing actually, because many people may not know this, but my lifelong dream as a child, actually, or maybe let me say as a teenager, was to become a music producer. So I eventually went on to learn how to play certain musical instruments. I played the keyboard, a little bit of the guitar, and I wanted to be a music producer, but sadly, I wasn't able to live out those dreams. So I mean, it's interesting listening to someone who was able to. So how did you get into filmmaking?
Okay, I think the journey started with, like I said, the music production.
Okay.
And so I was in between passion and also fending for myself, meeting my needs. And then at that time, not just at that time, I think the format of the industry is that if you're yet to produce for a known artist,
Yeah.
let's say, so to say, so there's a limit of what you can earn financially. So yes, I had a home studio. I was doing, great to the best of my ability, and but what was coming in was not commensurate because you have to fend for yourself. You have things to do. You have to buy more gears and stuff like that. So one of the first instinct that came to me was, oh, if I could maybe add video into it. That was when music videos started picking up in Nigeria, when we started having videos that could compete with international standard. So I felt that if I could be able to add video production to my audio production, that is going to give me an edge. So which was what led me into traveling abroad and
Okay.
getting skills in cinematography.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I actually did cinematography and editing.
Interesting.
So I could shoot and I could edit, and I can still shoot and edit, though I don't do that anymore. But I can still do it.
That's really interesting. Okay, so let's get into the transition. How did you make this transition from going from studio, a music producer, a filmmaker, into actually building speakers and sound equipment? What happened? What led to it?
Okay, so my time as a music producer, I was also doing sound because
Okay.
they're very related.
Okay.
So sound is more of sound reinforcement, live sound, sound engineering is more of sound reinforcement for events where you have your PA systems, that's public address systems, the speakers, the subwoofers, the monitors, while studio engineering is something similar but on a limited scale. So I was doing that on the side. So I handle sound in church. You don't want to hear this. I also did DJ because I was a hustler. So I did DJ. I did anything that could get me money around music.
Music, okay.
So
Okay.
I was doing sound in church. So I already had an idea of sound, just like everybody would volunteer. So I volunteered in church. I set up for the sound. So I set up every Saturday for Sunday service. Our Wednesday service was just normal. We don't use sound equipment. So every Saturday I set up for church. So that was where I learned the basics of sound from. So there was someone who taught me the basics. This is how to connect. This is for the XLRs, the jacks. Then it was a mixer amp, a Behringer mixer amp. I think it was a 10-channel mixer amp, and two single 15-point source on speaker stand. So that was all we had in church then. But after a while, it also grew because the church bought more speakers, and we're able to get our hands on to practice. It was a mutual benefiting thing. I was serving in church, and at the same time I was getting knowledge. So that was the transition between sound and live sound. So at that time I didn't think I was going to do anything professional in sound.
Okay.
I just wanted to be able to meet my need first and foremost, but I loved music. So my first instinct was to produce and shoot. And the reason why I feel I should add video into it was because I felt I have an edge being able to produce for you and also shoot your music videos. And of course, more pay. Because then it was just picking up and you get, more paid shooting music videos than producing just audio albums or audio tapes.
Okay, that's interesting. So, going into manufacturing,
Yes.
what happened? How did you get there?
Okay, so the journey was from the studio production to video and to sound reinforcement first before manufacturing. So just like I said, I was trying to earn a living. So I thought the video was going to give me an edge. So after going for the knowledge, now I can shoot, I can edit back to the country. I figured that I was back to the same spot. In the sense that if you have not shot for somebody who is also popular, you also can't get good music videos to shoot. So I was back to, oh God, please help me. Kind of people, oh, please help us now that you can shoot. Help us, record and shoot and this. So I was back to the same thing. And then I didn't have a camera, I didn't have lights, I didn't have, to shoot, you need props, you need lights, you need locations, you need power, that's a generator, you need cameras, you need to edit, it's a lot. So I figured out I was back to the same spot. So I said, I looked at the statistics of what I had and what I knew. The next available option for me was sound engineering because I could do studio production, I could shoot and edit, and I could also do sound. So I said, this sound is the next available thing that I can do with what I know.
Okay.
So in the course of shooting, I went to shoot for an organization that loved the way that I shoot. So the head of the organization asked me what else I could do and explained to him the things that I could do. So he had a friend who also loved sound, who had bought some appreciable level of sound equipment in the house. He just loves sound and he buys things and just keeps them in the house. I don't know who does that. So when I told the guy that I'm into sound, he said, I have a friend who has been doing this and this and this. So he linked us up together. And from our conversation and from the experience he felt I had, he was able to hand me the sound equipment to start business. So that was how I was able to get into sound reinforcement. But what we had was not enough. Because sound reinforcement is about power. And so when I say power, it means the output, wattage. So if you want to set a concert for, say, a 1,000 capacity outdoor, you're not going to need the same thing for a 200 capacity indoor. So what we had could do small events, but not big events. But at least we had something to start. So in the quest of wanting to be able to serve bigger events and bigger capacity was the quest for more equipment, which was where the challenge came. Now, you are dealing with equipment that you buy in dollars or in foreign exchange, and you are earning in local currency. So exchange rate is part of the problem. So, for example, you need amplifiers, you need mixer, you need wireless microphones, you need keyboard, you need drums, you need monitors, you need a lot, cymbals, a lot. You can have 3 different kinds of keyboard, a workstation, a synthesizer, and a MIDI controller, maybe like a Node, a motive or a montage, and a PSL. So just looking at the synthesizers or the keyboards alone, you are already running into maybe, say, 15, 20 million.
Wow.
Yes. You understand? Now, you have not talked about your drums. You have not talked about the speakers. You have not talked about wires. You have not talked about microphones. So it's also a capital-intensive project.
Okay.
So now another challenge came up. I have something that I could start with, but now I'm back to the fact that if you don't have enough speakers, you still can't do bigger jobs.
Okay.
So now how do we solve the problem? That's where the intuition for manufacturing came in. In the sense that there were some speakers we had, QST to be precise. They were active speakers, meaning they have inbuilt amplifiers. They don't require amplification. So there was a time it got bad. And at that time, we got the speakers for $100, as at when dollar was 100 naira. But when it got bad, dollar was 450. And what got bad was about $700.
Wow.
So repairing it was more expensive than the amount that it was being purchased originally. So now there's a challenge. So now I asked myself, there should be a way we can have something that can be easily fixed in the country and that will not be too centered around foreign exchange, which was where the intuition for manufacturing came in. So if you really take a look at the speaker, it comprises of a few things. Maybe the transducer, the box, which is wood,
Yeah.
the we call them the tweeters,
Okay.
which responsible for producing the high frequencies. The woofer or the transducer is responsible for producing the low frequencies. And you have a frequency splitter, which we call crossovers.
Okay.
So looking at these things, opening them and looking at them, I figured out that it's not so complicated. Even if you can't do the electrical part first, I mean, wood. Anybody should be able to put wood together.
But let me ask you at this point.
Yes.
Prior to this, did you have any engineering background? Had you been, like technically, had you put things together before?
Okay, so while I was young, maybe curiosity. Oh, you see a radio is talking. You want to find out what's inside. You open it.
Okay,
you see a lot of stuff. A lot of us did that.
We all did that. So I remember. In fact, I remember trying to build a water heater one time. I'd gone to this physics class, and my physics teacher had talked about all the elements and how things worked. And I remember I got home and I created something that I thought,
was a heater.
Yeah, would be a water heater. So I
Plugged it,
and then there was a spark. So the first spark, and I was like, no, we can't. Thomas Edison tried 1,000 times before he, The second time there was a spark again. The third time the spark was massive. I just packed everything under the bed. Let me not go and kill myself, So yeah, so that was really it. It was from what you're saying, this was really born out of necessity
and survival.
Yeah, survival, because the cost of having to bring, and I think this is very important, for many reasons. In this part of the world, for instance, we do not really manufacture a lot of things. So buying a car, I mean, I live in Lagos, Nigeria, and buying a car today is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous because we really do not manufacture cars. We have a company in the country called Innocin. I'm not too clear. I don't want to say what I don't know, but I think that Innocin probably does a bit of their manufacturing outside the country. There are some parts that come in and they assemble, and maybe there are some parts they make here. But really, we have to import cars. And right now, I remember a couple of years ago, not too long ago, maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I bought a Toyota Camry 2000 and I think it was 7 or 8, I can't remember, but we popularly call it a muscle around here. I don't know why we call it muscle, but very nice car. A Toyota Camry is usually very reliable, very good. And I think I bought that car for about 2 million naira, maybe between 1.8 and 2 million naira. Yeah. I remember around that same time I bought another Toyota Camry that we call Big Daddy or Big for Nothing. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. Around here we have all these names for these vehicles. There are vehicles called Evil Spirit and all of that. So I bought this that Big for Nothing for 1.5 million.
Yeah.
That was a 2000 and I think 6 or 7 Big for Nothing. At the time I was into a bit of transportation, so I used to buy cars for Uber. That was a business I was into. And now today the muscle is about 10 million for a decent, and we're talking about used cars, by the way, but not even talking about new
most
cars.
Most likely accidented and repaired.
Yeah, accidented and repaired and all of that. So, I mean, for the average young person around here, this whole exchange rate thing has really affected us badly. If you try to maybe you just move into a house right now. You're trying to furnish a house.
No, man.
Now.
No.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
Things like television. I don't know if you've tried to buy a deep freezer or a fridge, the couch. Everything is ridiculously expensive. Yeah. I wonder how many young people actually start their lives these days. Wow. Because, I mean, back in the day, as a young graduate, you could... I remember then, the Toyota Corolla that we used to call, I've forgotten the name now, but the one that is very popularly used for Uber, the Uber Corolla. All right? Because it's probably the most fuel-efficient vehicle for Uber. And then it's also easy to fix. The parts are available. Every mechanic can probably work on it.
Yes.
Now, that car used to go for 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 max.
It became
2 million.
1.8 when Uber started using it.
Using
That
it,
car
exactly. It was like 1.5, you know.
1.5.
Yeah, you know, most people didn't really pay attention to it until,
Yes.
you know, that business became popular. And as a young graduate, you could buy that car.
Yes.
And you could, you know, you could get your life together.
Yes, you get around with life.
But
Not
now,
easy.
in fact, the trend is that most young people can't leave home until they are getting married.
Yes. That's the reality of
I mean,
a prudent life. That's even if you're
today,
prudent at home.
exactly. And it's not even born out of the desire to be very prudent. It's just reality.
It's just
the
reality.
fact that
staring
things
you in
are
the
so
face.
expensive that I have to find a way out. And so
Yes.
I'm saying this because, again, for a lot of people, especially for those of us that grew up around here, how we respond to our challenges is very important.
Yes.
For you, it was the fact that it was going to cost a lot
Yes.
to purchase these things, you know, bring them into the country and fix them. It was just too much.
Yes.
And so the first thing you thought about was, I have to find a way. And that led you to building a company that actually builds stuff.
So there are two kinds of speakers. There are active speakers and there are passive speakers.
Yes.
So the ones I was talking about the transducers, the crossover, the dome tweeters, and the box, those are passive speakers.
Okay.
So I figured out it wasn't that hard. I mean, if I can't do everything, let me start with the box.
Okay.
Which is get a wood, cut the wood into a particular shape, put it together, brand it. So I tried getting artisans, carpenters, to do the job. But the outcome was not, because I love excellence. So when I saw the outcome, I figured out that there's no artisan that I can use. I have to learn to do these things myself. So I was not far from knowing how to cut wood, because while I was young, my mom had a shop beside a carpenter where we used to go and do some sandpaper work and the rest, because my mom had a game center.
Okay.
And she didn't want us to be addicted to games. So all the while when you tell us, go and stay with the carpenter. So I had a bit of carpentry experience. So I bought some machines and I started cutting and assembling. And I figured out that my finished product came out better than having to hire artisans.
Wow. Okay.
So I now have to tell myself the honest truth, that if I'm going to go way ahead in this, it's better I learn how to do everything. Because I don't want to have to be dependent on artisans that are not built for excellence. Because if I'm going to be competing with things that are being imported, then excellence has to be part of it.
Fantastic.
So we're able to put that together, purchase third-party crossovers, transducers and tweeters, and making the box fair. It came out good. And it sounded quite good.
Okay.
But now, the main challenge came when the active speaker got bad, the QSC. Because with the passive speaker, you still have to buy amplifiers.
Okay.
So let's even say I'm able to find my way around the passive speakers. How do I find my way around the amplification? Now, at that time, one amplifier sometimes, maybe like a WAV 2800, goes for around 700, 800K.
Okay.
And sometimes for a major event, you can use 10 of that. So amplification system alone, you're already looking at 8 million. And by the time you do the maths, how much am I getting paid for supplying these things? You have not even talked about the truck. To buy a truck that will convey those things, you're looking at maybe another 15 million. Or say maybe a smaller truck, 8 million, 5 million, depending on the size of the truck. So by the time you are conveying a full sound reinforcing gears to a venue or for a concert, you are going with an average of maybe 35, 50 million. Maybe to go and service a job that you are being paid maybe 700K.
Wow.
So something has to be done, because the inflow and the outflow is not realistic.
It's not commensurate.
So when the active speaker got bad, I knew that I'd gotten to a point that something had to be done. And I also had a few amplifiers that were giving me issues. They were quite old, but I couldn't afford to buy the new ones. So I kept going back to the guy that repairs, the technician. And I did that for 4 months. Take it, use it, got bad, go back, repair. And it was, that to and fro was like for 4 months. So it got so bad, the guy himself didn't want to get involved in the amplifier again. So anytime I go to his show, he say, "Oga, you have come again." And he has other people's amplifiers that he's attending to.
Okay.
So now he tells me, "You know what? Open this thing yourself. Let me tell you what to do."
Wow.
So as he was telling me that, I was learning.
Interesting.
So that was where I learned the basics of the active systems. That's how to repair amplifiers. Now, if you know how to repair something, it's not so far from making it. I mean, every mechanic knows how a car works. The problem is that they don't have the machinery maybe to make an engine, but they know that an engine comprises of a piston, of what do you call it? The piston, the engine block, the rings, and the rest, and the crankshaft. So I wasn't far from manufacturing because I already have an idea of how the amplification system works.
Wow.
So that knowledge now gave birth to another quest. Now I have an idea of how to repair, so let me try and make. So that was where I started. Okay, let me get this. So I made sure that everything I used was made in Nigeria. So they are imported transformers. I have a guy that makes transformers in Nigeria. I mean, I had to force him to get to excellence. I mean, let me say on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe it's around 8 now. Because I pushed him there. But it was crazy where we started, but I pushed him there. But it's getting better, So I made sure that everything I got was made in Nigeria. The guy made transformers. There are few things we still depend on, maybe imported stuff, maybe like capacitors. We don't make capacitors in Nigeria.
Okay.
So capacitors, resistors, but everything is being...
But those sound like basic things, yeah?
Those are basic things. Those are basic things. Capacitor is just, I think it's a form of electrolyte surrounded by some insulators. Very simple things, at least for my physics knowledge. I know, I have an idea of how capacitors work. So I began to put things together, try and error. Over a few times, I was able to perfect it. So now, getting the amplification system to work is one thing. Getting it to sound the way you want is another. So after getting to perfect the amplification system, then I moved on to fine-tuning. And mind you, these were self-sponsored. I didn't have somebody giving me money. So in the hard-earned, scarce funds, I'll still squeeze out something. I remember the first project I did, the test run I did, I spent $500K during President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. Wow. That's a lot of money.
That was a lot of money then.
It was a lot of money. And I remember my wife was saying, this is $500K on something that you don't know whether it's going to work or not. It was a major thing, and I understand that point. I mean, if you want to test something of 100K, you want to test strong with 100K, she doesn't have a problem. But you're looking at 500K, you can appreciably deposit for a land.
Yes,
with this money.
And do so many other things with,
but thank God it came out well. In fact, when we finished the first test run, the first time I was using that speaker was for her concert. Because she sings.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And it came out very good, but it was passive. So it was when we now perfected the active systems. So I started with fine-tuning. That was when I started manufacturing of preamps.
Okay.
So the amplification system consists of different parts. We have the rectification, which combines the transformer and the capacitors and the diodes. You have the preamps. You have the amplification. So I just had to put a lot of those things together to fine-tune it to give us the right kind of sound that we need for sound reinforcement. So that's just a bit of a summary of how we got into this.
Wow, that's amazing. So what year did you start experimenting, and then when did you finally kick off?
Okay, so the experimentation started around 2015.
Okay.
And then the kickoff started around 2020. So it took me 5 years.
Okay. All right, beautiful. So it took you 5 years to come to a place where you felt confident enough to take what you had built, to the world. Yes. So that means the company DMEG has been actively producing for the last 5 years, thereabout.
Yes, thereabout.
Okay. Tell us about your products. What line of products do you have right now?
Okay, right now I have subwoofers.
Okay.
Singles, doubles.
Okay.
Monitors, line array, all sorts of acoustic equipment. So sound gears comprises of electrical equipment like the mixers, the keyboards. So those are strictly electrical.
Okay.
So I believe we're going to grow into that, but we're yet to be there.
Okay.
But every acoustic equipment.
Okay.
So when I say acoustic, I mean like speakers.
Yeah, speakers. Okay.
Active and passive systems. So
you make
we have in-ear modules, subwoofers, singles and doubles, actives and passives. We have floor monitors. We have line arrays. So anything that has to do with acoustic.
So and all these products are made in Nigeria.
Yes,
They're manufactured in Nigeria.
Yes.
Where's your factory located?
Ogun State.
Ogun State. Fantastic. Amazing. Now, putting your products side by side, the international brands that you know too well, where would you say you are at?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say we are at around 8.
Wow, that's impressive.
And that's not because the products are inferior. but it's just because we need certain resources to be able to scale. So, for example, if you were to order some things from China, I'm sure you can get 1,000 pieces, 2,000 pieces, maybe in 1 month, depending on the capacity of the factory. But here now, having to deal with artisans, having to deal with human resources, most importantly, power, venue. In fact, one of the reasons why we left Lagos was because having to get a space to put things together, it's quite expensive in Lagos.
I agree.
And you have to deal with area boys. You have to deal with security. In fact, the place I left, there was this menace of thieves breaking in at night.
Wow.
Cut your net, steal things, and you don't want to invest in machines.
So much,
you wake up one day and find out it's stolen. So we had to move to Ogun State because it's cheaper to get space in that area.
Okay.
And then human resources, most importantly. Human resources is a major challenge in the country.
Oh, but 8/10 is actually quite good. So can you tell us some of the events, artists, people you've worked with, that have used your products?
Okay, I've worked with MI, I've worked with Gaze, I've worked with
Gaze Baba.
Yeah, Gaze Baba.
Interesting.
Directly and indirectly.
Okay.
So there was a time I did a few concerts for him.
Okay.
I think about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I set up for a concert that he performed. Quite a lot
And
of
he
gospel
used
artists.
your speakers.
Yes,
Wow.
I have pictures.
Wow, that's amazing.
So on the MI was twice.
Okay.
And some of the MI's events, Netosi was there. Ill Blaze, we had Ice Prince and MI. So I remember telling MI after sound check that these speakers are made in Nigeria. And I remember what he said. I still remember it till tomorrow. And he said, even if I show him the manufacturing process, that he will still choose not to believe. Now, I intentionally asked him, not because I don't know my products are good, but I needed somebody who has been on an international platform to tell me if these things are good or not. And I was really, really impressed and encouraged by his comments.
Yeah, by his comment. Fantastic.
Now we have a lot of people who have a biased mind.
Yeah.
In the sense that once you tell them it's made in Nigeria, before they even use it, they're already telling you it's not good.
Yeah.
So I usually try to ask after the event, because a lot of our Nigerian-made pioneers didn't really do. They didn't do a great job in the sense that there was a lot of mediocrity in made in Nigerian things, and which was why I made sure that I put excellence into my work.
So you've mentioned that word several times, and I mean it's a word that excites me. Excellence. How do you define excellence?
Excellence is being able to preempt issues and deal with it ahead of time. That's what excellence is. So you look at manufacturing speakers. These things are going to be carried from one point to the other. What can I do that at the point where they carry from one point to another, it can last over a period of time? So there are certain fortifications that we put internally for it to be able to withstand those pressures. For example, you buy electrical components, let's say a power speaker from abroad. They don't have power fluctuations. So it's built to accommodate their power supply. We have power fluctuations in Nigeria. You can be working and the generator goes off. And audio equipments don't like things like that. Excellence is being able to preempt the fact that this person using this speaker may have to put on the Gen 3 or 4 times.
So in a sense, excellence is good quality.
Quality?
In a degree that
quality.
Amazing. And I say it all the time that as a young person trying to really build something for the world, excellence has to be non-negotiable. Excellence has to become a core value. And so you can say that your speakers are world class here.
By God's grace. Excellence, in my opinion, is relative in the sense that there are certain things you cannot do excellently based on the resources that you have available. So excellence is putting every resource that is at your disposal to maximum utility. That's what the simplest way I would want to define excellence. So like the times I was using artisans to do some things, there's a machine you can use to do something and you want to choose to use it to do it with your hand. There's no way you can do something with your hand and it will come out the same way you use a machine. But the problem is they don't want to invest in machines. They rather use that money to go and drink. Because I've had a lot of them after work go to cool off after work and take maybe a few bottles I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't have that luxury because I have machines to buy. So those are the little lapses. Those little things are things that affects the output.
Okay. All right. So my next question would be about, I know a lot of people, and I would think I'm one of them, that's been affected by this. Like I said, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a music producer.
Yes.
But I think one of the reasons I had to change course was that it was taking too long to happen. I as a matter of fact, I was an artist. So when you said you used to rap, I used to rap too. Okay.
You also give us a few bars.
Someday I will on this channel. My stage name was School Fees, actually.
My stage name was Black Plains.
Okay.
I mean the
Maybe
black,
we need
the black,
to do
the
something
Plains.
one of these days. We need to do a single. So
let's do a rap and maybe
yeah,
just one beat. Let's just freestyle.
So I remember that I worked with a number of artists at the time. I remember that I wasn't just a rapper. I was a songwriter. I've recorded a couple of songs.
Yeah.
Probably share a couple with you after this. So, and it was taking too long to happen.
Yeah.
And, the reality that, you have bills to pay.
Yes.
You have to sustain yourself.
Yes.
I think I've done a talking head video on this, this dilemma on, should I pursue my passion?
Yes.
Or should I be pragmatic and earn a living? And I think it's one of the very difficult things that people try to navigate around here, because you have a passion, you really want to do something. And
Yes.
when you mentioned that you were about to spend 500,000 naira at the time on some pilot projects,
Yes.
it may not sound like a lot of money to a lot of people, but when you're self-funding and you're a family man,
Yes.
family person, and there are just 1,001 things you could do with that money.
Yes.
It's not a very easy decision to make.
Yes.
And sometimes when you're building things like this, it takes a while before you begin to really see the rewards.
Yes.
I'm talking about the financial rewards.
Yes.
So how did you manage through this period? How were you able to sustain yourself? How did you find that balance between sustaining yourself and pursuing something you're passionate about?
That's a very tricky question. I would say, honestly, that I've enjoyed grace. Now, a lot of people say this, grace. Oh, they've come again, they're Christians. But, I remember my first stroke.
Okay.
I was gifted.
Wow.
So it was a loan that was written off.
Wow.
So at some point, I took loan from the bank. In fact, my first loan from the bank was when I bought some amplifiers that gave me problems. And I was servicing the loan, and I was trying to fix
these amplifiers.
Yes, and I was going back and forth for 4 months, and I was still servicing the loan. At some point, I had to sell my car, a muzzle. Then
Okay.
that happened around COVID. I took a loan before COVID.
Right.
Then COVID came, so I had an option: get a moratorium, which also increased my interest rates. I got moratorium for I think about 2 or 3 months, but by the time I sat down and looked at it, the interest is piling up. I take a decision. I sold my car, cleared off the loan, and used the money to, I think my truck had an engine problem then, to change the engine of the truck. And trust me, that decision made me, I went on foot for another 5 years before I could get another car. So it's not as if it was that easy.
Yeah.
I took major decisions. And one of the greatest blessings that I've had is that God has given me a very understanding wife. So I remember when I got married, for the first 2 years, I didn't have a bed. Not that I didn't have money to buy a bed. Don't get me wrong. It's a different thing if you don't have the money. And it's a different thing if you have the money and you're using it to buy something else. So it's not every woman that can handle that. So the thing in life is that everyone should be able to sit down, analyze their lives, and know that you have decisions to make to break through. So if you're in a situation where you know that you have limited resources, there are some excesses you cannot accommodate. I wore a shoe for 3 years. I wore one jean for 1 year. I don't care. I have something I'm building. Today I can afford to buy a few, not that I'm there yet, I can afford to buy a few more jeans.
Yeah.
In fact, most of the footwear, I can't even remember the ones I wear. If I just wear my Croc, I'm good. It's my wife that will say, no, you can't go out like this, you can't go out like this. But because I'm already used to it, I'm work-oriented. So it's going to come with a lot of sacrifice. And then you must also understand that no matter how hard the journey is, there are people there who can help you. But the problem is that if you are able to service those relationships or access those relationships, and that's one of the mistakes that a lot of people make. I have a lot of friends that are doing well that borrow me money. Not at the first instant, but because they have seen track records.
Yeah.
For example, when a friend of mine saw that I sold my car to pay a bank loan,
he knew you were serious.
He knew I was serious.
You were all in.
I was all in into what I was doing. Now, everybody knew it was COVID. I could tell the bank it's COVID. Nobody will hold me for it. But I had a name to protect. And I said, no, let me sell my car, pay off the loan. I don't know, because COVID had restrictions, especially on events. So my business, I don't know for how long it's going to be affected. I don't know if this COVID is going to last another 2 years. If there's going to be restrictions on events for another 2 years. So I just took a decision. I sold my car. Now, people are seeing those things. So a lot of people will say, life is hard. I'm building something. Life is hard. I can't get by because I don't have rich parents. But they have excesses that they are accommodating that people are seeing, but they cannot tell them. So if you tell me I'm building something, I'm still an entrepreneur, I see on your status maybe a birthday. And that birthday you bought a cake. I'm not saying don't do birthdays. That cake is maybe worth 40K. I'm already analyzing. What can that 40K do to your business that you cannot make this sacrifice at this time of your life? Oh, I'm building a business. You're wearing a human hair. 400K. Oh, my business is tough. I'm doing this. That 400K can put something into your business.
Yeah.
Why do you think I started barbing this hairstyle? I learned it from abroad. Because to barb hair is maybe $100. I went with my clipper. That was when I learned to barb myself. And it stopped after I came back. So I cut down on excesses.
Frugality, like
excesses.
Mad frugality.
You know, so those little things, that's why I say it's a little living that livens the whole lump. Before people will start to believe in you, they must have seen certain track records of sacrifices and consistency that you are making. In fact, one of the things that also, the first trial of those equipment was in church.
Okay.
And people that saw the outputs now can say that, oh, there's something that can be identified with. If there's not some level of success that people can see, which will come from your own sacrifice, don't get them to come and, make sacrifices with you. So you must understand that. And then one of the things I say, if you are into something that is going to take a long time, that's one of the things I learned from Igbo people.
Okay.
If you are building something that you are not the first person to start that kind of thing, serve somebody that already has a structure. In the process of serving that person, I have guys that are serving me now, food is not their problem. I house some of them, I feed some of them. So that person doesn't have to worry about food and shelter because he's serving the right person. But if he's having to start up on his own, he's going to have to deal with a lot. So if you're starting something that you're not the first to start, to pioneer, look for people that already have structures in that system
people
and
that
serve.
can mentor you.
That can mentor you and serve them. Everybody has the capacity to serve. Not everybody has money, but everybody can serve. So if you serve somebody who already has the structure, even if they treat you bad, what you're getting the knowledge. Number one, the links, relationship. Because while serving somebody, he will send you, go and do this, go and do this. Now, I'm not saying go and steal somebody's client or steal somebody's connect, but that person also will have a boy that's serving under him. And you people can grow together.
Yeah.
So there are certain people who may not be able to do business with me, but they can do business with my boys. And they can also grow together just the same way I grew with certain people that were boys to people I could not do business with at some point. So if you look at the framework of life, it is because people have a certain way they want to go. And when that way is not working out, they believe it's hard. But there are so many options. You can start as a partner or serve somebody, and after a while, you are able to gather muscle to stay on your own. Or you start as a partnership that you can now later, maybe everybody, after a while, split profit and split shares or whatever and go on your own. So you don't have to start as a one-man army. Not everybody is called to that route. Some are called to that route, some are not. So it's easier for you to identify your place and stay there.
What you just mentioned is very important, because I think around here, people are obsessed with
I must be the person, only me.
Yeah, owning 100% of
100%,
everything.
it doesn't
But
work.
meanwhile, I don't think Bill Gates probably doesn't even own up to 5% of Microsoft.
Yeah.
Ike Imokwede, Herbert Wigwe,
I don't think
I don't,
Dangote owns
I
the
don't,
entire
yeah,
refinery.
you know, these guys don't own everything.
Yes.
You know, so people are obsessed. Meanwhile, you can leverage on other people's resources
Yes.
to be able to build something meaningful.
The resources,
and
their
people do not,
credibility, you can leverage on it.
Yes, on that.
I remember my first loan, I didn't have a collateral. I had a friend who worked in the bank and said if it doesn't pay, take it from my salary.
Wow.
Now, that person was able to do that for me because she has seen a track record.
Yeah.
You know, of my integrity and things that I do. I would rather not eat than to owe someone. I'd rather not have food in the house. That's what I'm built for. I'd rather not wear good clothes. That is me. So at some point, you leverage on other people's money, either through loan, which you probably have to pay interest. But if you are going to the point where people can trust you with their money and say, okay, just pay anyhow you like, fine, good for you. But you are going to start off somewhere. You know, I didn't start from where I am now. I started from somewhere.
Yeah.
But thank God
you've made progress. All right. So manufacturing in Nigeria,
Yes.
what are some of the biggest challenges you've had
Human
to deal
resources. You know, having to deal with a generation that does not want to work and wants to earn big is a lot. So they don't have the patience that we had. They believe it has to be microwave. Put it in 5 minutes is hot.
Yeah.
You know, and the internet fraud and all this. You know, there's a lot of people that they can see that these people are not going through process and they're living big. And you know, I think that's one of the places where the government should come in. You know, having to clip the fraudsters and people who are not going through the right path, who are appearing as a mentor to the younger generations who don't want to submit themselves to process, because these things don't last. And then, I mean, if you make money from fraudulent practices, you can't leave it to your children.
Yeah.
And government can, what if you get caught when you are 40 and you are sent to prison for 10, 15 years? You're coming out at 55, back to nothing.
Yeah.
But if you have a skill, you have a running business, it may take that same 30, 40 years to build. But after that, you can say that it's sustainable. And you can even hand it over to the next generation. So human resources, power is one main problem. But one of the ways I was able to go around power issues is that instead of having to invest in heavy wattage machineries, I invested in lower wattage in multiple places. So instead of having to get maybe something of like 2,000 watts, I'd rather get 200 watts in 5 places. So I can use a small generator when there's no light. Okay. So if it gets hot, I switch to the next one. It gets hot, I switch. By the time I go in 5 rounds, I can go back to the first one. It's already cooled. So that's one of the ways I was able to manage it. But we still cannot deny the fact that it's a major challenge. Power and human resources the most.
So when you say human resources, you're referring to two things. You're referring to, number one, skill sets.
Skill sets and unskilled labor.
Okay. Skill sets, unskilled labor, and maybe even attitude. You know,
attitude,
some things you've talked about.
Attitude, excellence. You know, I've in the days where I employed one of the carpenters to work with me, and he was trying to use a hand to smoothen a part of the wood, and I handed the machine to him. I know you can use a machine, and he came with someone. So the guy was using the machine, and the guy said, "Oh, this is so easy and lovely." And you know what he said? He said this in Yoruba. You know,
don't get used to it.
Don't get used to it, because when you leave this place, you are going back to your manual setting. So don't come and be disturbing me.
He was not even open-minded about, you know.
So those are part of the problems, and it's affecting the Nigerian market in the sense that I know the battles that I've had to face because I put forward a Nigerian-made product. Once the year's made in Nigeria, they don't want to have anything to do with it. They've not even had the production. They don't even want to give it a chance. I don't blame them, because it's a lot of...
I think it's a perception
It's
thing.
a perception and also it's a lot to put money together, I understand.
Yeah.
So it's actually a trust to purchase any service or a good or goods. So if I'm purchasing something, let's say I'm buying an Apple phone, what I'm saying is that I trust Apple enough to commit my hard-earned funds to give me a product that will serve me. So it's a trust. So if we cannot deal with that trust problem, it's also going to affect the system. And then what people have to know is that it's a 50-50 thing. So you can't say because you've bought made in Nigeria things in the past, I mean, you're not going to buy made in Nigeria again. My wife has bought made in Nigeria handbag made by Penchant, and it's good. So you can say, okay, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, I have 100K. I can budget 20K for Nigerian made products. Start with that and help the economy, help the fellow Nigerian,
Definitely.
manufacturers. And if it works out good, you can increase the budget, increase the percentage. But don't go all out that, Nigerian made products are bad. No, the game is changing.
What do you think about multiple streams of income? Because I know that you have an issue with it. So, yeah.
Okay, so there's a difference between multiple streams of income and multiple branches of income. Okay, so multiple streams means that I'm doing different unrelated things. Okay, I'm a sound engineer and I want to go into poultry and I want to go into fashion. That's multiple stream. Okay, but multiple branches of income are branches of the same stream. For example, I'm a sound engineer. I manufacture sound equipment. I do sound consultation. Because of my knowledge in video, I can advise you on things to do. I may not shoot for you, but have an experience in that field. But it's all related to entertainment. So you won't see me say, I want to invest in poultry.
Okay.
Number one, I don't have the skill set.
Okay. So what you really don't encourage, therefore, is trying to build multiple because, to be honest, if we want to objectively define multiple streams of income, we can't say it is different things. It can, even within the same branch, somebody could still refer to it as multiple streams. A stream is a place I draw from.
Yes.
But from what I understand, what you're discouraging or you're not encouraging is doing multiple things that are not related, essentially.
Especially when you are not yet established in one.
In one, okay, fantastic. Okay, so that makes sense.
So, for example, if you are running a business that can function 60% of you being absent, that is appreciably being established.
Okay.
So you can invest that 60% timing of yours into something else.
Okay.
But if you are still running a business that requires, and if you are starting anything, let's be sincere, it requires 100% because you have to do invoice, send invoice to clients. You have to do the job. If you don't have a clerk or a receptionist, you have to do the job yourself. You have to do back end. So someone can't tell me that something that you're just building by yourself, you don't have the money to pay a lot of staff. You are doing a lot.
Yeah.
How can you do that in 3 different places? How do you want to succeed in it? So, but when you are appreciably established in one, you can. Dangote is into multiple streams of income, but the cement factory is already established.
Okay.
The sugar is already established.
Yeah.
Now it's going into. He has gone into oil refinery.
Yeah.
But he didn't start up with trying to do cement and refinery and sugar at the same time. You could see that there were time differences.
Yeah.
He waited for one to be fully established. I believe he has had it at the back of his mind since that he wanted to have a refinery. But he knew the right time to go into it. So that's the problem that a lot of people make. Multiple streams is letting your money work for you.
Yeah.
So you have a structure that can conveniently generate money. And you put that money to generate other things for you, not you being everywhere at the same time.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
Okay.
But I still personally prefer to stay within the same stream, especially in the areas where I have same ecosystem, especially in the areas where I have knowledge.
Okay.
So, for example, I've been at events where my sound engineer didn't show up. Maybe something happened and it didn't show up. So, what if I don't know about sound? What it means is that I'll be stuck. But because I have capacity in that field, so even if there's an issue, I can manage it. So if you are trying to do multiple streams of income in an area where you have no knowledge, so what happens when one of your staff disappoints you?
Beautiful. So my next question will now be, what belief, has changed over time? What major paradigm shifts have you had on this journey?
I'll say self-reliance.
Okay.
I used to believe a lot in being self-made. Self-reliance, like I can do it all alone. I just need to know how to do this and put a few sacrifice and this, a little resource. But having to leverage on people's resources, people being able to trust me with their money, that okay, I can loan him to pay back. I've been able to achieve a lot more in a short range of time. So I figured out that everybody needs one person or more than one person. There's no one that is designed to make it alone. So
interestingly, this loan thing you're talking about, yes. So I think it was recently, Femi Otedola wrote a book.
Yeah.
And he was listing a time, he talked about a time in his life where he was owing multiple banks. And it wasn't small money. He was owing this bank 20 billion, this bank 10 billion. And I was reading it, I was like, how did this guy sleep at night? Because I've also been that person that when you grow up, sometimes your background can influence you in a way that you see taking loans as a problem. Yeah. But then you
especially
find out
Africans.
Yes, exactly. That, live within your means. Don't take a loan. But then you find out that the wealthiest people in the world sometimes are the people that owe the most. Because for them to really scale a business and take
resources.
it global, you're going to need resources that you do not have. And even when you have them, because in my journey with very successful people, or my interaction with them, I've noticed that they'd rather use other people's money.
They don't want to put all their money
exactly.
into the risk.
They won't. They would, once they have a system that can pay back this money, they would rather take that money. Yes. So, this is something I can totally relate with. Starting out and thinking, let me grow organically.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you're seeing the market, you're seeing the opportunities. Yes. But sometimes the belief that the way you want to do it is organic, might actually limit you. So a very simple example would be a company like Paystack versus very traditional companies. So there are certain companies that from time memorial have always wanted to grow organically. Okay. And so the thing is that it will take them a long time. It will take them 20, 30 years.
Yes.
But then the startup model of doing business is that a startup will get funding.
Yes.
And within 2 years, that company will scale. Yeah. So Paystack, I think, eventually sold in 5 years. And they had achieved so much because they were able to use other people's money.
Yes.
So I can totally relate with that. There are many young people that still have that thinking that, I don't want to borrow, how do I sleep at night? Just like me,
Every businessman learns to sleep while owing. If you don't grow to that point, you can't grow any business.
Yeah, Abi?
Because you owe.
The US government is owing money.
Nigeria is owing. And the president is sleeping. I'm owing currently, and I'm sleeping.
Right.
Of course, I'm going to pay. Someone will have to trust you with something they've seen. Yeah. Even the bank will have to see something. So I remember my first loan from the bank, I didn't have a collateral. In fact, I didn't even have an account with the bank that loaned me money. So they requested for a statement of account from the bank that I was using. 6 months backdated. 6 months up to date. And when they saw the statement of account, so they said you have capacity. And because I didn't have a collateral, they didn't want to give me the loan, but somebody stepped in for me, which is why I said you need grace. Now, someone else again, who already had a relationship with the bank. That's why I said that you can't be self-reliant. And with certain arrangements, they were able to loan me, and I paid. And being able to pay the first one gave me leverage to collect the second one. So either a bank or an individual, there must be something they can see and trust before they can. Like I said, anybody giving you money or resources or time is a trust.
It's a trust.
So the reason why I'm here having this podcast is because I believe in the podcast. So if someone else calls me and say, come and spend 1 hour of your time, I'm already evaluating that 1 hour. I know what I can achieve manufacturing in 1 hour. Yeah. So for me to leave my working space and even have a conversation is an investment.
It is.
There are people who will invite me for parties. I would not go. There are some I would maybe support financially. Some I would go. Everything is an investment. Your time, your communication, the food you eat, everything is an investment.
So there was something you were saying that I want to touch on, that maybe the very beginning might not be the best time to take a loan. Yes. Maybe you want to prove, there's something we call proof of concept.
Yes.
You want to use your own resources.
Yes, to prove it.
To prove your concept, to build a prototype.
Yes.
So when you begin to take those baby steps and you can see the potential. Because the thing about journeys like this in entrepreneurship is that the picture becomes clearer as you move along.
Yes.
And when you can now see at that point, you would, most times for you to really scale and take it to the next level, you have to take a loan.
Yes.
So I'm glad that's a paradigm shift that you had, because I think a lot of young people need to begin to have that paradigm shift, because I talk to friends who are terrified. They're terrified of loans. So I'm like, guy, everybody is owing. You know, the US government is owing, Nigerian government is owing, Dangote is owing, everybody is owing.
Yes.
If Dangote is owing, who am I? Like, you know, it's desirable to owe. Well,
Yes.
as long as you're disciplined, because I think we should mention that the discipline is very important. If you take money for business purposes, you want
Let
to
it go for business.
Yeah, let it be for business. Be very prudent, you know, ensure, because at the end of the day, hey, it's not free money.
In fact, you don't borrow for anything that is not business.
Yeah.
Even now, permit me to go to the Bible.
Yeah.
Now, when the master gave talents
Yes.
to his servants,
Yeah.
the one that eat it, what was his recommendation? He said you should have given it to the bank.
The bank.
And I should have received with interest. What does the bank do? The bank loans businessmen money.
Yes.
So that's why I don't support Ponzi schemes. You put 1 naira, you get 10 naira. Those are Ponzi schemes because I don't know what the money is doing. The standard procedure is for every resource to do business. That's the standard procedure. So you must be able to borrow.
So what's the next level for DMEG? Where do you see DMEG in the next 10 years?
Manufacturing for Africa.
Manufacturing for Africa. Are you looking to expand your line of products? Are you looking to, so beyond the acoustic, you know, equipment, are you trying to build your own mixers? Are you what's the vision?
So depending on a lot of things, I would not want to get involved with something that I cannot drive with excellence. If what I can drive with excellence is just the acoustic system, I'd rather stay with it. But I desire to move into other things. But excellence takes priority over any other thing. So Apple doesn't have to make cars. I mean, they just make phones and laptops and maybe a few gadgets. They don't make cars. And they stick with what they make, and they are good at what they make. So just like I said, that's like multiple streams or multiple branches, but excellence is the drive. When it gets to the point that is visible, of course, I would love it to go into it, but like I said, excellence is the drive. I don't want to say beyond that.
Okay.
I love to go into it,
but
I'll let excellence be my guide.
Okay.
So even there are certain things you may want to go into that the resources around, not just personal resources, environmental resources, the policies of the country,
the human
resources. If these resources are not available to give the right kind of excellence that I would want to associate with, I may decide not to go into it. I mean, I remember this director that had this avatar. He said he's had the concept for a long time, but the technology was not there to achieve it, and he just kept it until the right technology was in place to produce such a feature film. And you know, today we all know Avatar 1, Avatar 2. You know, so that's like
I remember even Lagbaja, the Nigerian artist, many years ago when he started. It took him a while to make videos, and he was, you know, adamant initially that if his videos were not the same quality as what he used to see on MTV Base and all of that he was not going to make videos. But I think he eventually had to cave in, obviously, and make videos. So one of the things that you've really pushed today is that desire for excellence, and I think it's very important. I for all the young people listening to us, look, excellence is non-negotiable. It's if you really want to build something notable, be thinking world class, develop your skills to world class level. You want to build things that can compete internationally. I think that's very important.
And excellence does not mean that you get it right at first.
Yeah.
Excellence is
progressive.
It's progressive.
Yeah.
So, in fact, what is excellent today may be considered as not being excellent in the next 5 years.
It will become normal.
It will become normal. So excellence also evolves.
Excellence.
So what it means is that you have to keep evolving.
That's why I believe that the perfection is a myth. It doesn't exist.
Yes.
Because what you think is the best today will become normal tomorrow.
Yes.
You understand? So that's amazing. What's the central message that you think, that core message that is the message of your journey, that your journey can teach any young person, that's listening to this podcast right now?
If you're going to build anything that lasts, it's going to come with a lot of sacrifice and some measure of pain. That's what a lot of people may not want to tell you. I don't think my wife was enjoying what we were going through while I was building. I'm still building. I wasn't enjoying what I was going through, but it was a right and necessary step that I needed to take at that time. Like I told you, I said I wore a shoe for like 2 years, one shoe. I wore one jean. I made sure it was black. So it could go with anything, and then you don't have to wash it all the time. You can just put water in the brush and brush it, and you continue your journey. I took those decisions. There was a time I wore, I think about 2 or 3 shirts for like a year. I mean,
because you were building.
I was building. So if you're going to build something, it's going to come with a lot of sacrifice and an appreciable amount of pain.
Okay. I think the other message I should add is having an understanding wife.
It's part of counting your costs. If you know you are gonna go into something, if you're just a graduate and you're gonna get employed and you're earning money, you have a lot to play with.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur, you have to choose right. So if you're an entrepreneur, don't go and marry a peng. Who wants to
marry a baddie?
A baddie.
All right, that's amazing. So I'd like you to look into this camera and give our listeners a final word.
Everything is possible to him that can pay the price. Now, some will say all things are possible to him that believe it, but I want to make it simple for you because believe is a coded word. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in whatever you're doing, but you also have to believe in other people. So you have to be able to pay the price. If you're serving the boss physically, you're going to do things for him. You're going to run errands for him. It's part of you paying the price. If you believe in a spirit being higher than you, you're going to require you to pay a price, a sacrifice. So don't let anybody deceive you. Anything is possible if you can pay the price. There's a price tag to anything that wants to be achieved in life. Something I need to say that we're open for training is we're looking to train for free.
For people who are interested in learning how to build.
Yes.
Wow, this is
But we
nice.
need to be able to measure their form of commitments, because I've had to want to train people for free, and you find that in the first 1 or 2, 3 weeks, they don't show up again. So we may require certain things to be done to show their level of commitment.
Okay,
but we're willing to train.
Okay, fantastic.
We're willing to replicate the knowledge.
Fantastic. All right, so thank you very much, Mr. Muyiwa Onikpedi. It's been amazing. It's been amazing out here, listening to all his wisdom, hearing his story, and bringing out life applications from that. For those of you that might be interested in the program or interested in his products, so they have amazing speakers. The moment we're leaving here, we're going to a venue where I'm hoping to get some of his speakers for. These are amazing products, and so if you are interested, I'm going to be leaving some contact details in the description so that you can reach out to DMEG Media. If you want to have events, if you have a facility that requires sound, you can always reach out to him. They're made in Nigerian products, but they are world class, and it will mean a lot to help grow this company. For those of you that are interested in learning, how to build these products, you're interested in the internship, please also signify in the comment section, and you could drop your details too, or you could send me an email. I would leave an email. I wouldn't want you to drop your details in the comment section, your phone number or anything. So send an email, and we'll connect you with him. Your social media handles are also available, yeah?
Yes, Instagram.
Okay, so we will drop them across the screen so that you can also reach out to him directly. I'm sure this has been valuable. I have gotten a ton of value, and I'm confident that you have too. So till we meet again in next week's episode, stay intentional. Bye.